What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today, we are watching, hold on, let me get this down. We are watching, SmugStick. What if Goku and Vegeta went to Earth together? You know what I'm saying? It's something different, like we kind of been together. Like, that sounds cool, so I'm gonna check it out, bro.
The legacy of the Saiyans. What if Goku and Vegeta were sent to Earth together? Vegeta and Goku, two eternal rivals, joined through a devastating battle for Earth.
Right.
But what if their fates were changed? What if their meeting came much sooner? Kakarot's father Bardock arrives back on planet Vegeta, worried that Frieza's fear for the Super Saiyan may mean the end of the Saiyan race. Now he comes to King Vegeta with a warning, hoping he'll allow his children, Raditz and Kakarot, to go to Earth alongside the prince. King Vegeta sits on his throne, alone, thinking about the future of his planet under Frieza's rule. He was worried. Frieza told him to call down all the Saiyans back to planet Vegeta. Clearly there was some special mission that would require them all. He wasn't thinking about confronting Lord Beerus, was he? No way. Even Frieza knew better than that. Suddenly, someone burst through the chamber door. King Vegeta asked the meaning of this, as he watched the low-class Saiyan push through his guards in an explosion of power. The Saiyan kept saying that he needed to warn the king. They needed to prepare. The king was annoyed, but amused. He allowed the Saiyan to speak. He declared himself as Bardock, and he realized that Frieza's call for the Saiyans could mean trouble. Bardock suspected that the Saiyans were to be wiped out. The king laughed. If it was that, then he would surely.
That's great, because we never seen
Nothing
Bardock
like
and King Vegeta interact.
Bardock went on to explain that Guinea and himself devised a plan to send away their youngest child. The king found this traitorous and got his guards to take away Bardock to the dungeon until he calmed down. His words stuck in King Vegeta's head. What if he was right? Obviously, as the king, he couldn't leave. He had to lead his people and not show weakness. But if they were all to die, what would happen to the Saiyan race? Later that night, King Vegeta visited Bardock in the dungeon. Bardock didn't want to speak to him, so the king did most of the talking. King Vegeta didn't think that this was serious, but it did worry him, so he made a deal. As long as he doesn't tell any other Saiyan until they figure out what's going on, then he would allow his son to be sent away to that remote planet, along with Prince Vegeta. He'll even provide the pods and the cloaking technology, so they wouldn't be spotted by Frieza. Bardock was surprised. Why would the king want to send his son along too? The king said that if something were to happen to them, then the prince would have to continue the Saiyan race. He will call down Prince Vegeta from his off-world mission. He realizes that if his son somehow survives while Frieza's around, he will be turned into a lackey, a slave for the emperor. If something did happen to them, it would be up to Vegeta to avenge them. A low-class Saiyan kid wasn't something he was happy with, but it was Bardock's plan after all, and his warning at least deserved that as compensation. Bardock nodded slowly. He had one more thing to ask. His eldest son was also stationed away with the prince. Could he come along? The king scoffed. Bardock was left to sit alone until the following night, when he, Guinea, and the king snuck at night to the forest area, where the king's guard had brought a pair of pots. But Guinea and Bardock's face went pale when they saw that there were only two, and that Prince Vegeta was the only one there. The prince thought that this was ridiculous, and he knew he would be back soon. He hated having to go with this low-class Saiyan, but at least he knew Raditz. If his brother was anything like him, he would at least be fun to mess with. The king instructed the prince to keep a low profile until they came to get them. They didn't want Frieza picking up on a deserted Saiyan. Guinea slowly reached for the king as he took Kakarot and placed him in the pod. He closed the hatch, and the prince got in his. Guinea began to pull on the king's robes, asking what about Raditz. The king didn't respond. He turned to look at them, and finally said that they had only earned one child. If Raditz was smart, then he would stay where he is and survive. Vegeta doesn't need two low-class rats slowing him down. Guinea pounded on the king's chest armor, demanding Raditz be saved as well. Bardock yelled at him, but the king moved his arm back to press the button on the pod. Kakarot and Vegeta blasted away, with Guinea yelling for her son. The king said they should be thankful he even allowed him to go. Prince Vegeta could see a flash of light as the battle seemingly began below. He didn't care. He just wanted to get this over with and return home. Thus, the children of the monstrous Saiyan race were sent across the galaxy to Earth on a mission to survive. Their pods fell from the sky and into the greatest adventure of all time. The pods landed in a mountain area full of trees and life. Loads of strange creatures neither Vegeta nor Kakarot had ever seen before. Vegeta looked for a scouter to use and research the area, but realized that he didn't have one. His father must have taken it so that Frieza wouldn't be alerted. The cries of Kakarot kept him from thinking. He dragged the kid by his arm and put him back in the pod. At least his cries were drowned out now. Vegeta looked around and found a small cave. They would need shelter for sure. Just as he was going to pick up Kakarot's pod and take it to the cave, he heard the cracking of leaves. Instinctively, he shot a blast to where the sound came from. The leaves ruffled in the air as they burned, but there was nothing there. Vegeta must have been imagining things. But the prince jumped back as he turned around, seeing a smiling old man. Vegeta let Kakarot's pod fly up, only for the old man to catch it with one hand. Vegeta got on guard instantly.
How strong is Kid Vegeta? Can he?
Frieza, but he did.
He fucking up Kid Gohan, Grandpa Gohan?
Oh, no need to worry, kiddo. I'm not here to hurt you. I heard some crying and came here to investigate is all.
A monkey tail dropped on Gohan's face. It seemed like the pod opened when Vegeta let it go, and now Kakarot hung overhead.
Oh, another one. You must have been the one crying. A tail. Very interesting children, aren't you? Where are your parents?
Vegeta kept his guard up, telling the old man to let go of the brat. Let him go? Vegeta found himself confused. He didn't care about Kakarot. When did he even say that? Gohan took a step forward while he let Kakarot down, but Vegeta jumped to punch Gohan. To his surprise, Gohan dodged the hit in a flash. Vegeta was in utter disbelief. How did he predict that move?
You're strong, but there is so much to learn about martial arts.
True.
You could beat me physically, but I have
I'll say, yeah,
knowledge.
Vegeta should be a little bit stronger.
Vegeta was getting angry.
Physically.
He was going to attack again,
or strength-wise.
but his and Kakarot's stomach growled.
Seems like you both could use some dinner. Come, I'll feed you.
Vegeta wanted to protest, but it was true. He was very hungry. This old man could live, for now. But to Vegeta's surprise, Gohan's food is really good. He loved every bite he took, and apparently so did Kakarot. He was also content in knowing that he didn't have to sleep on the cave. He didn't trust anything this earthling said just yet though. It wasn't until one day when Gohan watched Vegeta fight alone outside.
You got good moves. What do you want, old man? I just want to know about your parents. You never answered me.
It's none of your business, Gohan sighed. How did you do it?
Do what?
Know where I was going to attack. Know where we were.
I see nothing gets by you, Vegeta. But you're right. I actually didn't hear Kakarot's crying at first. Instead, I felt a powerful ki presence nearby. Your ki presence. Ki presence. Ki is the essence of all living creatures.
Oh, it's clean. Vegeta gonna be.
It binds nature together.
Vegeta gonna be a better fighter, actually.
Never realized it. Close your eyes. Is this one of your tricks, Earthling?
Can we get trained by Grandpa Gohan?
I am well aware, but this will be an important tool if you plan to defeat that man you wish to take down.
How did you?
Trust me, Vegeta.
Vegeta finally accepted, closing his eyes and sitting on the grass. Gohan continued, telling him to feel everything around him. The trees, Kakarot, even the tiger that's been stalking them. Vegeta found it difficult at first, but it was as if a shock of electricity struck him, because he could virtually see everything. Gohan explained that with enough time he would be able to tell just how powerful a foe is. Vegeta recognized this feeling as the same feeling he got when using his Gallic gun. So, this was where he was drawing that power from. From then on, Vegeta began to unknowingly trust Gohan even more. Despite being much weaker than himself, this old geezer had a wealth of knowledge that he was going to use for his own advantage.
Ew, that's a
Vegeta
crazy
largely
outfit.
ignored Kakarot, but noticed that he was picking up on a lot of things as well, getting stronger, but he would never catch up to him. The gap between the low-class Saiyan and the elite was far too great, and Vegeta knew it. Gohan tried to take care of them both, but Kakarot was the only receptive one. Vegeta only cared about him when it came to martial arts and food. That was until one fateful day. Gohan took Kakarot out late to gather some fruits, while Vegeta trained alone, but they were taking way too long. Vegeta felt something. Vegeta decided to take a peek outside, just for a second. It is then when realization struck him. It was a full moon. Is that why his father had picked this planet? Vegeta put on a cloak to avoid looking at the full moon, and he began to rush towards the forest, what Kakarot and Gohan had gone to. Finally, he reached the site of a decimated forest and the raging Ozaru Kakarot in the center. Gohan was below, struggling to get him to calm down, but Kakarot simply slaps Gohan away, with the old man hitting a tree. Vegeta's eyes widened, jumping forward as his cloak came off. While jumping in midair, he slowly transformed. He knew this was the only way to stop Kakarot. He would have to teach him to control this form later on, wasting his valuable time. He hated that low-class runt. Vegeta just hoped that both of them transforming wouldn't destroy the planet, or worse, alert Frieza. Ozaru Vegeta finished the transformation and threw a punch against the back of Kakarot's head. This instantly knocked out Kakarot, with the Ozaru dropping down below. Vegeta made sure to hold back, as to not kill him. Good. Kakarot was okay. But Gohan, the Ozaru turned to find the old man lying under a tree, his giant hand picking him up. Slowly, Gohan opened his eyes and smiled at Vegeta, asking him how he found them so quickly. Vegeta's eyes widened. He had sensed Kakarot and Gohan's ki, way before even hearing the roars. That's what caused him to look for them in the first place. Gohan was very proud and would eventually recover. It seemed like Vegeta had gotten there just in time. Time passed, and although Vegeta still maintained his hostile attitude and his mission to destroy Frieza, he also slowly began to open up. He did teach Kakarot how to control Ozaru. Having him rampage again would be too much of a hassle to clean up after all. He also told him about why they were there, about their parents. Kakarot insisted that they would return to pick them up someday, but Vegeta never held on to hope. He figured that his father must have been right, and Frieza really did wipe out the race. During training, Gohan would call Kakarot his brother, which infuriated Vegeta. Even Kakarot himself called him Big Brother a few times, which Vegeta completely rejected. He would yell at this low-class trash that he's not his brother, that he didn't even consider his real brother his brother. He would fly away in anger. Kakarot would be saddened by this, but Gohan was always there to cheer him up and reminded him that Vegeta didn't really mean it. Kakarot would constantly challenge Vegeta to battles or contests, but Vegeta would always win. Racing, hunting, hide and seek, it didn't matter. Vegeta was always ahead of him. However, this didn't discourage Kakarot. On the contrary, it motivated him.
How he caught up.
He learned to sense ki and fly, just so he would attempt to keep up with the prince. Vegeta found it amusing. Kakarot wasn't a crybaby or a quitter like his brother Raditz. A year prior to Bulma's arrival, Vegeta decides that he can no longer stay in the mountains. He has gone flying around Earth before, but it was always when he was racing against Kakarot. He wanted to take his time, experience everything this world has to offer, before he maybe takes her over. It was clear to him now that this planet wasn't as powerless or as insignificant as he once thought. Perhaps there was someone or something that could make him strong enough to face Frieza. Gohan and Kakarot bid him farewell, but not before Kakarot promises Vegeta that he'll be a lot stronger next time they meet. Vegeta scoffs and flies away, his mind filled with thoughts of revenge against Frieza, his Saiyan pride. Through his travels, Vegeta eventually encounters the Pilaf gang in a castle he found in the middle of the desert. He was tired, so he decided to rest there for the night. Pilaf nearly had a heart attack when he goes into his room and finds the monkey boy sleeping in his bed. Pilaf summons Mai and Shu to take his intruder out, but Vegeta nearly kills them. He decides not to, after they reveal why they are there. The Dragon Balls, 7 magic orbs that can grant any wish. This was Vegeta's ticket to defeating Frieza. He would wish for immortality. He would let them live as long as they helped them with the Dragon Balls. After all, they had all sorts of radars back in their home base. Unbeknownst to him, Kakarot himself had started his own adventure with a new group of allies. This Goku is far stronger than the one we know, thanks to some training with Vegeta. He manages to collect the Dragon Ball sooner than expected and doesn't need to call Roshi to put out the fire on Mount Frypan. He just used the Gallic gun. Even so, Roshi takes great interest in the powerful kid. While he is kind-hearted, he's still prideful as a Saiyan and has some brutal techniques. He has to watch himself to make sure he doesn't go overboard. Over time, he becomes a little cocky in his abilities and believes he can eventually take down Vegeta in a sparring match. But much like in the original story, the Pilaf gang attacks, capturing Goku and the rest. One thing Vegeta had neglected to do was train Goku's tail, and he was caught by surprise, as the Pilaf gang were instructed by Vegeta himself. They would take them to Pilaf's castle, or should I say Vegeta's castle, as the Dragon team is brought forth to the throne room. Goku's eyes widen as the chair turns to reveal Vegeta. It had been over a year since
he got an eye patch. Come on now.
So this is where he ended up. Kakarot
I like the story. This story kind of good.
Asking what he was doing. Once again, Vegeta yelled to not call him that. He was simply doing what he was born to do. Rule. He would take the Dragon Balls and wish for immortality and defeat Frieza. Bulma barked that the Dragon Balls were theirs and that she had a wish. Vegeta was surprised that the woman had the nerve to yell at him, but he smirked, asking what she would wish for. She simply blushed as Vegeta got close to her. He was only a year older than her, but he was very handsome. Bulma could only mumble nervously, but Vegeta backed away and told her to shut up. Yamcha said to never talk to her like that again.
Yamcha, get your bitch ass on her.
Asking if he was her boyfriend. Goku argued that he shouldn't let the anger dictate his actions. They were both there to defeat Frieza, but immortality is not the way to do it. That just sounds like cheating. Only their new power would destroy him. Together, this struck something in Vegeta. Yeah, those were Gohan's teachings, alright. He was also glad to see how much of a prideful Saiyan Kakarot was, and to know that he was eager to avenge their people. But regardless, This would be the only way. In a desperate move, Kakarot challenges Vegeta to a battle. The prince commanded Pilaf to uncuff his brother. Smirking, he was excited to see how much he'd grown.
His brother,
Vegeta,
hold on now.
around this time, had a power level of 10,000 to 12,000. Thousands of times stronger than Goku in the original story. But that also means that the small amount of teaching and training that Vegeta provided, whether intentional or not, helped Goku power up exponentially. He can't catch up to him just yet, but his power level is an impressive 2,000. What Vegeta learned the most during his training with Gohan was ki sensing, martial arts, and spirituality, and he understood that numbers were not everything. Kakarot spent a lot of time with Gohan. He couldn't underestimate him. Thus, the two brothers fought it out. He was merely toying with Kakarot. The younger Saiyan saw no option but to look at the full moon. Vegeta smirked, and he watched the transformation. He did the same, and the two Ozarus threw punches, each hit causing the entire desert to shake. The giant apes used many martial arts techniques. Mouth beams were fired in all directions, and Kakarot even bit Vegeta's tail. It was an awesome sight to behold, but both the Pilaf gang and the Dragon team knew they needed to do something. Pilaf took this chance to summon the dragon, but Bulma was ahead of the game. Yamcha told Oolong and Puar to take down the Ozaru by cutting his tail, while Bulma stopped Pilaf. Before the Emperor could say anything, Bulma jumped into making her wish for a perfect boyfriend. Shenron's eyes sparkled, while Puar and Oolong cut the monkey's tail off. The two Saiyans had their battle interrupted, and were both very upset. Bulma thought that the dragon was a sham, since she did not see any boyfriend around. Her eyes squinted, while she glanced at Vegeta getting up after the de-transformation, but her vision was covered by something else, Yamcha's smiling grin waving at her. Of course nothing happened, he was already there, right? Bulma laughed, sighed, and said that he was right. Though she looked back at Vegeta and Goku one more time, making sure they were okay. Goku and Vegeta looked at each other, with the younger Saiyan laughing. Vegeta turned his head and scoffed, getting up to rush away. But Bulma yelled at him that he was a bad guy and they needed to stop him. Goku couldn't let him get away. Vegeta raised an eyebrow at Bulma. Goku stepped in the way, finally explaining what was going on. Vegeta was his brother, and he was trying to find a way to defeat a different bad guy.
I like this, man. This is cool.
With a small smile, he said that Vegeta had finally realized that wishing for immortality wasn't the way to go about it, right, Vegeta? The prideful Saiyan prince cracked his knuckles and nodded. He hated to admit it, but he almost gave up the only thing he had left, his Saiyan pride, in order to defeat Frieza. He had to find another way. Goku noticed that this was the first time that Vegeta ignored the brother comment. He didn't draw attention to it, but it warmed his heart. Vegeta said that he had to go, but that Kakarot had impressed him in the end. He told Goku to keep up his training, because next time he wants a real challenge, even if it's from this low-class scum. Vegeta walked past Mai, Shu, and the Pilaf gang. They were terrified that they would be killed, but he simply told them to find him a new challenge. Finding those Dragon Balls was way too easy. He was also feeling rather peckish too. It'd be in their best interest to find him a suitable meal. The trio followed after Vegeta. They knew they were his lackeys now, and time passed. Goku trained with Master Roshi, learning a lot more about martial arts. He was extremely powerful, so he won most of the tournament very easily. Knowing that he would breeze through it, Master Roshi contacted not only Gohan for help, but Vegeta as well. The prince agreed to participate only because he sought strong warriors. Thus, with a bunny mask and a robe, Vegeta participated as though Roshi and Krillin made it far. It was obvious that the final match would be between the Masked Man and Goku. It was spectacular, and Goku was none the wiser. Though he recognized some of the techniques, he couldn't quite put his finger on it. In the end, the Masked Man defeated Goku before disappearing into the night. Goku never found out who he was. No one there was strong enough to teach him anything useful, though that Roshi fellow did give him some advice, that he shouldn't remain vengeful, and instead seek peace. This was the way to defeat Frieza and get stronger. That old man was a fool, and he could have killed him easily, but that would just make Gohan upset. On another note, he recognized Goku was growing more and more. His power level hadn't increased much, but his techniques were unique and impressive. It didn't matter, he didn't care. The Masked Man returned to a flying fortress anchored on the island's parking lot. There, he sat on a throne with the Pilaf gang kneeling.
The fuck is that?
And behind them, a cloaked figure walked forward,
Piccolo,
pushing away the trio. The man's deep voice echoed as he demanded progress in the search for the Dragon Balls. Vegeta shushed the tall man, standing up and creating a key ball to pull to his face. The hooded man took a step back, terrified. Vegeta said that he would get his wish soon enough, and maybe then he'll be a real challenge. Vegeta smirked, saying that there was only one true king here, right? Quote-unquote, Demon King Piccolo?
Yep.
Hey kids, don't go away.
his cloak, revealing the Namekian. A few months ago, the Pilaf gang had finally found a new challenge for Vegeta, the Demon King Piccolo. He was a very dangerous threat and had begun to attack villages already, but Vegeta showed him his place, defeating him very easily.
Easy.
King Piccolo damned the world, saying that if he had his younger body, then he was sure he would win. Vegeta knew he was bluffing, but seeing a Namekian here was very interesting. He must have been the one to create the Dragon Balls.
Yeah, with your younger body getting
Of a
cooked.
better match, Vegeta used his resources to start finding the Dragon Balls. He found out that another power, the Red Ribbon Army, was also collecting them. He made quick work of everyone, going through Muscle Tower to collect one, killing Colonel Silver for another,
He doing
and
all
stopping
Goku's
Blue in his
work, man.
tracks. The hunt wasn't over yet, and Goku also wanted one Dragon Ball, the 4-star ball, to return it to Grandpa Gohan. That's when Vegeta and Goku met at the lands of Korin, where they were confronted by mercenary Tao Pai Pai. The two Saiyans made quick work of the assassin, saving Upa and Bora in the process. It had been a long time since the two had been together on the same side. The two also went up Korin Tower. Goku had a little more trouble, but not that much. When they made it up top, Vegeta realized that it was harder for him to catch Korin than it was for Goku. Perhaps this Earthling training that he was getting was actually something special, because even though he had incredible speed, Master Korin had some tricks up his sleeve. Vegeta already knew that the water wasn't divine or anything. It was really training for Goku and himself. Goku asked what exactly Vegeta wanted the Dragon Balls for, and Vegeta said that it was just some stupid challenge he wanted to do. This guy, the Demon King Piccolo, wanted to have eternal youth. Maybe he'd be a real challenge then. Korin's eyes widened and he yelled at Vegeta that he shouldn't do this, that King Piccolo was a monster. Vegeta laughed loudly, explaining that if Piccolo was a monster, then Vegeta is the devil himself. He then rushed away with the final Dragon Ball. Perplexed, Korin yelled at Goku that he needed to do something. He needed to take that power pole and head to Kami's lookout. Something horrible was about to happen. Goku trusted Vegeta, but he listened to Korin, just in case. And thus, he made it all the way to Kami's lookout, facing Popo and finishing the bell test much faster than usual. Popo was extremely
Bell
impressed.
test, yes sir.
When Kami showed up, he already knew everything of what was going on. They needed to do something quickly, or the whole world may end. Goku's eyes widened when he realized that Vegeta may be trying to take over the world. Had he misread his brother? Had he really freed some monster? He was a proud Saiyan, but his home was Earth, and he was going to protect it. Kami said that Piccolo was dangerous, but that Vegeta may be even more so. Their training would begin. Little by little, Goku was convinced that his brother was a problem. Goku's training is a complete game changer. He is used to being under pressure, and his mental fortitude is stronger
yeah,
than
he
regular
can be
Goku.
good,
He
better
manages
for
to
the
stay in the
time
chamber for
chamber.
months, though a year is still out of his reach. He was terrified that Vegeta could actually do something horrible. He needed to stop him. Vegeta finished collecting the Dragon Balls, with the Demon King demanding that he be turned young again. Vegeta gathered the balls together, and Piccolo summoned the dragon. He was turned back into a young Namekian, his power surging and overflowing. Vegeta still wasn't impressed, but the Demon King declared that this world was already his, spitting out various eggs and creatures to battle the Saiyan. No way he could
Ew.
win, right? Piccolo's booming voice terrified the Pilaf gang, but it was a sudden flash of light that landed in front of them that really made them jump. It was Kakarot. Vegeta's eyes squinted. What was he doing here? Goku explained that he spent the last few months training with Kami since the last time they saw each other. He knew what he was up to, and he would need to be stopped. This Demon King could bring ruin to the entire world. Vegeta burst out laughing. He told Kakarot to sense his ki. He was nothing compared to them. Goku closed his eyes. He was right. He was already massively stronger than Kami. This Demon King was nothing. Even so, Vegeta freeing this guy meant that he was going down a dark path. He would stop at nothing to defeat Frieza, clearly, even if it meant endangering the planet. Goku yelled at Vegeta that Kami was right. The greatest threat to Earth was Vegeta. The prince gritted his teeth. He was insulted. How dare this low-class
shit.
trash forget his place? He smirked, telling Piccolo
What the
to
power
go
levels
ahead and
now?
send the whole army and himself against Kakarot. This would be a good warm-up before their match. The Demon King chuckled, not realizing that he was still being used as a pawn. Vegeta knew that the Demon King could not stand a chance against Goku, but he could at least show him a good time. Vegeta wanted to see just how far Kakarot's training had brought him. Goku did not hesitate, extending out his arms and focusing his ki for a great Gallic gun. He corrected himself. Kamehameha. The blast consumed the army, not leaving a single trace behind. King Piccolo's eyes widened As he
Yeah,
shook
that was
it,
light work for little
Kakarot took
Goku.
slow
Man.
steps towards him. Vegeta raised his voice, saying that the Demon King had greatly disappointed him, but he at least served to prove just exactly what side Kakarot landed on. Piccolo and Kakarot stopped in their tracks, while Vegeta walked to them with a smirk. He said that Kakarot had already impressed him with his blast. His training had served him well. He even looked older, despite the fact that it had only been a few months. He had great potential and a talent for battle, something that the prince didn't see in the other Elite Saiyans. Soon he could be a great adversary, but not now. Goku and Piccolo rushed towards each other, blasting and fighting, but Goku was so above Piccolo that his best attacks severely wounded the alien. Goku's clothes were ripped, but he was fine. King Piccolo fell to his knees, panting. Vegeta faced Goku, but blasted at Piccolo without even looking back. The Demon King screamed in pain as he was pierced. After all, he had no use for a Demon King that can't move. With the last of his breath, promised that he will return and his reincarnation will kill Vegeta. Vegeta lifted an eyebrow, turning to face Piccolo while he spat out an egg. Piccolo died, but not before getting a glimpse of his nightmare. Vegeta jumping and catching Piccolo's egg. Piccolo passed away, while Vegeta looked at the egg pensively. Kakarot walked slowly to Vegeta, asking him to put the egg down. Vegeta laughed lightly, saying that he was quite impressed
Put the egg
by
down!
Kakarot. He could tell just from his ki spikes that he was above his older brother. Perhaps he was even getting close to Nappa. Goku didn't know what he was talking about. He hadn't heard anything about his older brother nor Nappa in many years, ever since Vegeta told him their story. To Goku's own surprise, Vegeta did put the egg down, leaving his hand on it. A woof of air lifted behind the two Saiyans, Kami. He quickly rushed to Vegeta, slapping his hand away from the egg. Vegeta's eyes widened. Another Namekian. He squinted, whispering to himself about it. He must be the creator of the Dragon Balls. This was Kakarot's teacher? Kami stared down Vegeta. He knew he couldn't stand up against them, but at the very least, he could stop him from unleashing a second Piccolo. Kami was going to attack the egg, but Vegeta caught his hand, his eyes burning with anger. Kami instinctively took a step back. Vegeta told him that he isn't going to touch the egg. Goku was surprised. Was he changing? Was Kami wrong? Kami argued that Vegeta was the greatest threat. Vegeta tilted his head as he looked at Kami. The Saiyan Prince says that he knows that already, and that he will raise him to be the greatest adversary. He then turned to Kakarot, saying that if he wants to defend Earth, then he better train hard. Kami was not going to allow this to happen. He ordered Goku to help him battle Vegeta. Goku was hesitant, but he did as told. Vegeta smiled. He was excited to see what Kakarot had left to show him. The Saiyan kid rushed in, with Vegeta blocking the attack and creating a shockwave across the plane. Vegeta was incredibly surprised. How exactly did he get so strong? Did the Namekian have a secret? Goku clocked Vegeta in the face a couple of times, actually drawing blood from the Saiyan Prince. Vegeta's eyes brightened up, and he exploded his ki. Both Kami and the egg were pushed out. Kakarot managed to keep himself up. He wasn't about to give up. The battle continued for a while, with Kami absolutely terrified by the power he saw. This was the power of the Saiyans? The Earth really was doomed. But Goku didn't last much longer. He was brought down on his back. Weak. Out of ki. Vegeta pointed a ki ball at his face. Kami yelled out a sorrowful no, but Vegeta made the ball disappear. Extending his hand out with a slight smile, Goku was helped up, looking at the ground. Even after all his hard work in the chamber, he still couldn't catch up to his brother. In one of the only acts of warmth that Kakarot would see in his life, Vegeta pushed Goku's chin up. He told him that he was very impressed. He got so powerful in such a short amount of time. He wouldn't stop looking for ways to get powerful on Earth, and neither should Kakarot. Vegeta turned to look at the egg. It was cracking. It would be born soon. He dusted it off and held it. Kami yelled that he would doom the world. Vegeta simply shot a blast past Kami's head as a warning. Vegeta explained that he could take over the world anytime he wanted, so he should be grateful he hasn't already. Vegeta blitzed away. Kami nearly broke his staff in half with how tightly he held it. Goku took slow steps towards him, saying he was sorry to have lost, that next time he was sure to win, but that he believed his brother was changing. Vegeta didn't mean what he said. When he was a kid, he saw Vegeta kill for much less. Not only had he not killed Kakarot, but actually taken someone he knows will be weaker than him in order to train him. This was something very out of character for Vegeta. Kami ignored what he said, simply stating that his training would be tougher than ever now, and thus, a new chapter in their story began. Vegeta would go on to race Piccolo for a few years.
A Saiyan training a Namekian, and a Namekian training a Saiyan. Alright, SmugStick. Alright.
The Pilaf gang, while Pilaf, Shu, and Mai would provide care and support for the child. Vegeta would focus solely on fighting and training Piccolo. He subjected him to brutal training on a daily basis, with a similar regimen that Vegeta himself followed when he was still living with his father at the royal palace. Vegeta did know a little bit about the Namekians, so he wasn't surprised to see him grow taller than himself in just 3 years. Goku continued to train at the lookout, still unsure of what Vegeta will mean for Earth, but hopeful nonetheless. Kakarot's training to defeat his brother continues. Next, Dragon Ball What If? Vegeta recalls the girl that Goku hung out with for a long time. Bulma, was it?
I like the story. I actually do like the story. I like that he's not rushing through it too. Like you know how some of these What If they be rushing through the fucking like time skip and 2-3 years. Gohan, the actual Gohan's here now. The fucking the android arc and like they taking his time still. They still in Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? I like that. So shout out to SmugStick, and I can wait till the next part, man. That was part 1 and 2, man. And make sure y'all go check out this other SmugStick story that I reacted to, and maybe a Solid Sand story right here. And you know what I'm saying? I'll catch you next time. Peace.